Why Russians want Bakhmut so much? And well, the part of the answer is already hidden inside the question. They want it, but they don't need it. What does it all mean? And in my today's video, I will try to explain it as easy as possible, this crazy Putin's obsession. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. At this point, Bakhmut is more of a symbolic city for Russians, which can bring them a symbolic victory, in case they succeed. And just like Stalingrad during the Second World War, the Russian propaganda still quotes this city until this very day. But Stalingrad got renamed since then, and to be honest, the majority of people don't even know the new name of the city, which by the way is Volgograd. And most can't even show it on the map, which brings the question, do people actually care about the military tactics aspects of this battle, or the battle itself? Under no circumstances I'm diminishing the legendary heroism of Stalingrad defenders, but I'm pretty positive that there were dozens or maybe even hundreds of other battles which were equally important, but they were not as much spoken about. And the same thing with Bakhmut. Just ask some Z patriots to show it on the map, and I'm pretty sure most of them won't be able to do it, or some of them will say it's like somewhere in the east, probably in Donbass area. And yeah, if you are smarter than Russian Z patriots, which I know you are, just can you please like this video and subscribe to my channel, just to see how many of us are here. So yes, just like with Stalingrad, the mental importance of Bakhmut is huge. And while this might not be the most significantly important city in Ukraine, definitely talking about tactics and logistics, Russians have been already trying to capture it for almost the entire year, and still they have failed. They reportedly only captured a little bit more than half of this city before getting stuck in front of Bakhmutivka river, and Ukrainians made sure to destroy these bridges, which significantly slowed down the further advancement of Russians or even completely stopped it. And in the process of capturing just a portion of this city, Russians have suffered a huge, big losses in this small area. It is estimated that approximately 50,000 Russian soldiers were lost in the battle for Bakhmut or its surrounding areas, when the total number of Russian losses is 160,000, which makes the losses of Bakhmut to be approximately almost 30%. And yet, they still keep pushing, because the Russian authorities think that they already invested so much in this city trying to capture it. They still failed it, and there's nothing to present to the Russian people. The retreat will mean a total humiliation for Putin and his inner circle, because for them this is their modern Stalingrad, and they simply see no other option other than to keep pushing it. And for the lack of any big victory since the beginning of this war, the potential victory in Bakhmut might become their most significant battle, or if you want to even call it the central battle of this entire war. And if once again Russians will be able to do it, the propaganda will just tremendously intensify, creating even more parallels between Stalingrad and Bakhmut. With only one key and major difference is the side on which Russians are fighting. The Bakhmut victory, in case it happens, will provide a significant morale boost to the Russian forces and Z patriots. But the question is, will they be able to expand on it? And the answer is, most likely, no. The losses are already huge as it is, and the reserves are depleting rapidly, so Putin will either have to declare another partial mobilization, which to be honest will be an extremely unpopular decision, or he will have just to continue the invasion with whatever forces he has left. Ukrainians are entrenched within Bakhmut and to the far west of the city, so they are ready to meet advancing Russians with the full force. And just as a general rule, it is always easier to defend rather than to attack. And just knowing the love of the Russian military commandment of using prehistoric tactics, of sending waves after waves after waves of soldiers with little to no support from tanks or other military vehicles, these people will become a very easy target for Ukrainians. And so then another question, what is going to happen. And I personally see two different scenarios of how the situation around Bakhmut will develop in the near future. The first one is that Russia, at a cost of thousands or maybe even dozens of thousands of soldiers' lives, will be able to fully capture Bakhmut. The Russian propaganda will start talking 24/7 about this victory. Putin might even do a special address to the nation, declaring a huge victory in the east of Ukraine. Putin then will probably say that this will be a turning point in this war, special military operation according to him, and that just like in Stalingrad 8 years ago, this will be the point when Russians will start their liberating counteroffensive. And by the way, just an interesting fact, the battle for Stalingrad lasted almost twice shorter than still ongoing battle for Bakhmut. So yes, after declaring a total victory in Bakhmut, the Russian army will most likely completely stop or at least significantly slow down their advancement in the east, because once again they have massive losses both in personnel and military vehicles. And the exhaustion of the forces will also play a huge role. Just imagine going to another combat activity while fighting for 1 year non-stop. Because of this, Russians will most likely try to stall Ukrainians as much as possible, especially because Ukrainians are set to start receiving the major batches of Western military vehicles as early as already in 1-2 months. And eventually, whenever Ukraine receives all these NATO tanks, armored personnel carriers, other equipment, weapons, probably even planes, and this highly trained personnel, this is when Ukraine will start their own counteroffensive. Which brings me to the scenario number 2 of what is about to happen in Bakhmut area in the near future. And long story short, Russians will not be able to fully capture Bakhmut because already right now they're at this relative stalemate. Because of this, they might decide to entrench themselves in order to win some time, regroup themselves and bring reinforcements. But Ukraine will take advantage of this as well and make their own preparations. And since the time is on Ukraine's side, primarily because of previously mentioned these Western military vehicles, most likely it will be Ukrainians to launch their counteroffensive first and take Bakhmut back from Russians. This will be a huge crash on the morale and spirit of the Russian soldiers, the patriots and authorities, and in fact this might become a turning point in this war, but for Ukrainian side. And just please let me know in the comments which one of these two scenarios you personally think is most likely going to happen. And if you want to wait until the end of war together with all of us, just please once again subscribe to my channel. It only takes one click. Feel free to check the links down below if you wish to support the channel. Thank you so much for attention, товарищи, and see you on Tuesday.